It's time once again for another thrilling episode of Markout Radio. For the next hour, sit back, pull the stick out of your ass, and enjoy. Be warned though, smarks and internet know-it-alls will be offended, annoyed, and generally pissed off at what's about to happen to your ear holes. You've been warned. Now, Markout Radio.
All right, welcome back to Markout Radio Goes Nitro, episode 29 for March 25th, 1996, Von Braun Civic Center, Huntsville, Alabama. Commentators this week, Eric Bischoff, Bob the Brain Heenan, Steve Mongo McMichael. But first, fade that out for me, fucking producer boy, would you? No. See, you were supposed to fade it out, you fucking... God. Training. We need more training for you. All right. First, let's talk about Uncensored, shall we? It was last Sunday, drew 175,000 pay-per-view buys and a $104,000 gate. Out of 9,000 people there, 7,300 actually paid for their seats. The lead-in package was a seizure-inducing, but fine for wrestling package. The cages were stacked in front of the entrance ramp. Now, I'm not quite sure if this was clever or annoying. It was always there for everyone to see, but it was always right there, kind of in the way. One thing they needed to do was put the pyro setup in front of the cage, because off to stage right where it was just a waste of money. Like any card, there were winners and losers. The Konnan Guerrero match was fucking awful and left it up to the Finlay Regal match to get the crowd back. Laugh of the night goes to Gene Okerlund, who offers his neighbor, the dentist's services to Loch Ness and just gets a fucking greasy eyeball. The matches, it was pretty good. The matches were all long and exhausting for the audience. I kept trying to find a place to take a beer and piss break, but only the promos gave a guy a chance to get away, and they were too short and to the point. That's not even really a criticism. It's just it made it difficult to take a piss break. I had to pause it, but if I was watching it live, it would have sucked. It was great wrestling. It left the crowd and commentators worn out. The dual camera deal during the Chicago Street Fight and the main event were used to good effect. Even the lighting for the stage where the cage was kind of crap. And it was just crap up at the topper levels. The cage ring itself was decently lit, but I don't know. It was the upper level 1 and level 2 were not really well lit. Anyways, speaking of the cage, the first two levels were goofy, but fine. I mean, why Flair and Anderson didn't move down the same trap door to get from level 1 to level 2. I mean, even after being eliminated, it's a cage match. It's uncensored. There's no disqualifications. What the fuck? Who cares if you're eliminated? Just follow them, right? The Final Solution's name was changed from Monday to the Ultimate Solution tonight. Probably a good idea because of the whole Nazi implication thing. Somebody must have smartened up the booking committee in the last few days. Anyways, things didn't stay in the cage. Sullivan, Luger, Savage, and Hogan continued the match out to the main actual ring until Z Gangsta and the Ultimate Solution came down and hauled the faces into the cage with the crappier lighting than the main ring had. Good news, you couldn't see much, which included the shit wrestling from the attractions. Holy shit, Z Gangsta and the Solution couldn't wrestle for shit. I will give it to Hogan and Savage here. They wrestled for more than an hour and did a decent job of making the attractions look like they knew what the fuck they were doing. Luckily, though, Flair and Anderson did come in to help with some of the heavy lifting. Eventually, they evened things out with a spray-painted tin pans, the faces, to make their comeback. Luger had a quote-unquote loaded glove. There was a shitty botch spot where Savage ducked out of the way and Luger accidentally on purpose nailed Flair with it. I mean, the crowd popped like Luger had switched sides, which he wasn't actually booked to do, and the commentating team could have just pretended it didn't happen, but they keep drawing attention to it like fucking marks. Anyways, Savage almost botched getting out of the cage and instead pinned Flair for the 3 by leaping back inside as Hogan kept trying to call him out. Then the faces ran away while the commentating team tried to explain all the bullshit that we just watched during this fucking main event. It wasn't the worst pay-per-view I've ever seen, but far from the best. Anyways, shall we? I think we shall. Let's talk actual Nitro, shall we? Thank you, producer boy. All right, on Nitro, we're 3 weeks in at number 1 into the wrestling ratings war with WCW nipping out WWF 3.1 to 2.8. The seating capacity of the arena tonight for Nitro is 6,700 people. Eric claims it's a sellout, which means that less than half of the people there actually paid, because we do know that only 3,300 actually paid to be there. Not awesome. But we're live as live can get, live on TSN, TNT, live. Mongo and his stupid dog are wearing cow print. Now let's kick it off live and hot on live TV with live wrestling. TNT live. Fuck, I hate it when Bischoff does this stupid live bullshit. And I'll continue mocking it as we go forward, because it happens a lot. It keeps happening, actually, until Hall and Nash start making fun of him for it. And then it stops. Blissfully. Savage defeats the Belfast Bruiser in the first match of the night in 5 minutes, 5 seconds. I gave that one 4.5 out of 5. I mean, it was actually bona fide a good match. With a few things. With a few caveats, of course. Finley's Mad Max inspired gear has some new metal beads bedazzled onto his sleeve, which is hot. Eric congratulates Hogan on his big win last night. Oh, and Savage was sort of there too. I mean, he got the pin and all, but what else did he really do? After his match last night, Savage has some new ring gear on and does a great job of putting Finley over. And Finley also did a great job of making Savage look awesome. Surprisingly, it was a really good match for an opening match. 4.5 out of 5 is nothing to fucking slub your nose at. Now, I'm not giving it that score because Savage is in it. I'm giving that score because it legitimately earned it. Now, there is a 1-800 collect replay of the big elbow finisher afterwards, which is great. Commercial break with a 1-800 line bullshit promo coming back from break, followed by Jean on the ramp with Flair, Woman, and Liz, who's inexplicably carrying a wad of cash in her hand. Woman spends the whole time trying to distract Jean by flirting with him, playing with his collar, touching his face. Jean gives her shit, in the way that Jean would give somebody shit a couple times. It's hard to know why Sullivan would get jealous. Anyways, pretty solid promo here. Afterwards, Bischoff explains that Liz was holding Savage's money. Oh, all right. That would have been good explained during the promo. But anyways. After this, Konnan defeats Mr. JL to retain the WCW United States Championship in 6 minutes, 19 seconds. 2 out of 5. Now, before the match even starts, Bischoff explains why Pillman didn't appear last night at Uncensored. Now, again, let's remember that Bischoff has claimed that after the Sullivan Strat match, he let Pillman go to the ECW to work on his gimmick. In his book, in his podcast, in the shoot interviews he's done, he's claimed that Pillman was let go to go work at ECW. And now he's talking about why he was not at a WCW show, even though he's talked a couple of times on the air during Nitro, as well as after the fact when he's doing his podcast and everything else, that Pillman was just let go. So there's Eric being Eric again. Now, they've been putting Konnan in matches with guys who either don't want to work with him or don't know how to work with him. This is the best showing we've seen yet from Konnan, even if he did no-sell way too much of JL's offense. The commentating team struggled to keep on match until Nick Patrick fucked up a count and the commentating team shot on him. After this, the Booty Man with the Booty Babe defeats Disco Inferno in 1 minute, 14 seconds. That one gets 2 out of 5. We're back from break, by the way. We're live, only on TNT, where live wrestling lives live. Disco's got DDP rings on, which the commentating team puts over. Thought that was pretty funny. And his stupid CD, of course. Beaver comes out without the Babe. No one says a thing. Kim comes out a little while later. Her nips popping out of her dress, by the way, as she smacks Beaver's booty.
All right.
Commercial break after this, followed by Saturday Night promo, followed by Lex Luger and Sting defeating the American Males. Marcus Alexander Peggle, Scotty, really? Fuck it, I'm talking over it. For the WCW World Tag Team Championships in 6 minutes, 20 seconds. At least turn it down so they can hear me. All right, thank you. 4.5 out of 5 on this one. Luger is playing his part well, and the commentators are doing their jobs by putting them over. Again, another commercial break during a match. God, I hate these. With the WCW Magazine promo. God. Thank you. Put it down before fucking YouTube bans the video. All right, Jesus. Anyway, Sting and Peggle, turn it down. I can still hear it. Sting and Bagwell have a high-speed series of exchanges that got a huge pop from the audience live on TNT, live where wrestling is live. There's a Luger botch here from last night. Say, stop it. Seriously. I can't anymore. Anyways, Luger's botch from last night gets bullshit coverage from Bischoff, who's trying to explain it. They should have just ignored it again. I mean, because Luger is actually getting heel heat and getting over with this heel heat just fine without bringing up constantly this quote-unquote botch from last night. Anyways, the end of the match here was goofy. Bagwell didn't even try to save his partner. He had his foot in the ring, and he's reaching for his partner without actually getting in the ring to break up the tag. The commentating team tries to cover for it by saying, he couldn't bring himself to break up the count because he's got so much respect for Sting, but fuck off. A win is a win. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, post-match, the antics with Luger outside of the ring and Sting inside the ring with the males was actually a good spot. It was a good match here. The wrestling was top-notch. Very few botches considering the speed and the flying going on in the ring. And it sells the shit out of the ongoing storyline with Luger. So that's good. It checked off all the boxes it was designed to check off. So that's why it gets such a high score. After this, we get Flair with Elizabeth and Woman taking on the Giant. Now, this ended in a no contest for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship belt in 8 minutes, 58 seconds. I gave this one 4 out of 5. Now, normally no contests are bullshit, and I hate them. But this actually did something for everybody, and it's good. So, let's start first with Liz and Nate and Woman coming down to the ring. Now, Liz starts handing out the wad of cash, which, of course, the cameraman zooms in just a little too close on so we can see they're all singles. Now, of course, this allows the commentators to put it over and explain to us that she's giving away Savage's money. And that's good as it builds some heat between Savage and Flair with the whole Liz angle on it. That's fine. The unfortunate part is that it's real money and it's all singles, and the camera zooms in on it a bunch of times. Now, they could have easily gotten their hands on some fake hundreds to do the spot with to really put it over. So it loses a little bit of its heat because of the fact that she's handing out singles. Who the fuck cares if she hands out a wad of singles? She's handing out $50 essentially, which is not an inconsequential amount of money, but she's handing them out, and her and Woman are handing them out in singles to fans at ringside. It would have been funnier if they were hundreds, and then fans would have gone online, because this is 96, to bitch and moan about it being hundreds, as opposed to what they did, which is going on to BBSs and complaining about it being dollar bills. But anyways, most of this match was Flair taking tons of heat and self-bumps to put over the Giant's dominance, and of course him being the dirtiest player in the game. Now the Giant here took 2 rather impressive bumps for a guy of his size. Now, the first one, which was dumb, was a missed crossbody over the top rope. But then he did a missed splash over the corner, which he did last night's show with Loch Ness. And it actually works really well. It's a good spot. I don't know how safe or dangerous it is. I feel like there's too much of a chance of him taking a header onto the ring post like Cesaro did. But it does work, and it gets over almost as much as his clothesline over the top rope gimmick does. So, 2 points. That being said, Flair does a blatant kick to Giant's dick, and it got huge heat from the crowd as Woman and Liz were distracting the ref, which is fucking funny. Now, I'm going to say this in all due respect, because I know that she's gone, and it's horrible, and I don't want to dwell too much on it, but the fact of the matter is that Woman puts on a fucking clinic of being a heel valet. Liz, I'm sure, is fine. I don't know if she's still good at it, but back in the 80s, she was fine at being the face's valet. All right, she had the look of concern, all that shit was going on, and that part was all fine. But she's shit at being a heel valet. She's absolute shit at it. Now, I hate Woman's scream every fucking 5 seconds, but as far as running around and helping with the wire and distracting the ref and fucking around with Gene on the ramp, she's really a fantastic heel valet. Really fantastic. The ending was actually very good for this match. There was a good series of spots building to the Giant for a singles run with no stables and nobody holding him back, essentially, which is kind of cool. The Giant can be a tweener pretty easily. I don't think he needs to be a face, but we'll see what actually happens with him. Him being a heel is good but him being a heel on his own without Jimmy Hart constantly screaming at ringside is better. Anyways, the match itself was called a no contest because so many people are in the ring that the Giant pretty much chokeslams everybody. And, yeah, it's a bit of a blow-off, but it is what it is. Going forward, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Giant and Jimmy Hart and all that other shit. Commentators after this wrap everything up, putting over the Giant's whole turn before plugging Hogan for next week's fucking Nitro.
Hogan hour sucked.
Anyways, overall, it was a solid Nitro. 4 out of 5.
Well, that was an abortion of a show. Should the mood take you, check out markoutradio.com and leave a comment. You can also find links there to our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Stitcher channels. You can even leave a voicemail on our Skype. Just click the links and share them.